encounter, encounter, evolution, evolution, excuse, excuse, expose, expose, educational, educational, employee, employee, extra, 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 employee, employee, expose, expose, distinction, distinction, extra, extra, empty, empty, eager, eager, display, display, employee, employee, extreme, extreme, district, district, error, error, engaged, engaged, dramatic, dramatic, employ, employ, examine, examine, educational, educational,
extraordinary, extraordinary,
encounter, encounter, distinguish, distinguish, employ, employ, estimate, 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 entirely, entirely, export, export, entire, entire, export, export, error, error, explore, explore, element, element, expert, expert,
extraordinary, extraordinary,
excuse, excuse, export, export, evolution, evolution, educate, educate, effective, effective, expand, expand, examine, examine, emerge, emerge, district, district, domestic, domestic, evil, evil, effective, effective, district, district, display, display, district, district, encounter, encounter, explore, explore, element, element, employ, employ, educate, educate, export, export, entirely, entirely, drug, drug, efficient, efficient, district, district, expand, 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 empty, empty, export, export, expert, expert, employee, employee, distant, distant, extent, extent, estimate, estimate, export, export, extreme, extreme, efficient, efficient, emotional, emotional, enemy, enemy, extra, extra, distinction, distinction, export, export, examine, examine, entirely, 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 eager, eager,
emphasize, emphasize,
estimate, estimate,
elderly, elderly,
extraordinary, extraordinary,
effective, effective, expert, expert, educate, educate, enable, enable, extra, extra, distinction, distinction, domestic, domestic, entertain, entertain, empty, empty, district, district, distinction, distinction, enormous, enormous, distant, distant, excuse, excuse, dramatic, dramatic, distinguish, distinguish, engaged, engaged, explanation, explanation, distinguish, distinguish, examine, examine, dramatic, dramatic, divide, divide, extra, extra, entertain, entertain, empty, empty, domestic, domestic, drug, drug, eager, eager, examine, examine, estimate, estimate, extreme, extreme, disturb, disturb, explanation, explanation, evil, evil, distinction, distinction, educational, educational,
elderly, elderly,
engaged, engaged, eager, eager, error, error, expose, expose, excuse, excuse, drug, drug, empty, empty, emotional, emotional, extreme, extreme, dull, dull, enormous, enormous,
extraordinary, extraordinary,
enormous, enormous, educational, educational, distant, distant, dramatic, dramatic, employee, employee, empty, empty, district, district, educate, educate, entertain, entertain, eager, eager, estimate, estimate, efficient, efficient, explanation, explanation, examine, examine, drug, drug, divide, divide, distant, distant, eager, 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 distinction, distinction, employee, employee, domestic, domestic, effective, effective, entirely, entirely, expert, expert, distinguish, distinguish, disturb, disturb, dull, dull, extreme, extreme, enemy, enemy, district, district, examine, examine, excuse, excuse, entertain, entertain, district, district, distant, distant, extreme, extreme,
extraordinary, extraordinary,
domestic, domestic, entertainment, entertainment, distant, distant, enable, enable,
emphasize, emphasize,
empty, empty, engaged, engaged, expert, expert.